Welcome to the Pulse of Spokane. Join us for the latest in news, views, and conversation with community leaders. The Pulse of Spokane is brought to you in part by Breakthrough Incorporated and Homes for You. Now, put your finger on the Pulse of Spokane.
Welcome to the Pulse of Spokane. Kent Adams. I hope you're having a good day. We're in November already. In fact, it's the 7th. We've almost finished a week of November. I just don't get it. It's probably because I'm aging a bit, but the weeks and the days seem to go fast. Hey, we've got a full program today, some very good topics to cover, and some great guests. Patricia Keenholz is here to talk about Alzheimer's. She has a relative, and I have a relative that have dealt with that, and as a family, what we go through and so forth. An important topic for we baby boomers. Steve Tamero from the YMCA of the Inland Northwest is going to be here, and he's going to talk about all the new things going on, the strategic plan, the plan to expand into the Sandpoint area, and so forth, continuing to grow the YMCA of the Inland Northwest. And then Charles Abeta. I'm saying it wrong, and he'll correct me. That'll be the first thing he'll do when he comes in. Is going to talk about social media, and especially for young folks today, and how to use it effectively and so forth. Connor's calling the weather next on the Pulse of Spokane.
Hello, Spokane. This is Connor from Spokane Talks with your 5-day weather forecast. Today is going to be mostly cloudy skies, gradually becoming sunny during the day with a high of 45 and a low of 24 degrees. So we're going to have some frost Thursday morning, so if one of the tricks that I do for when my car gets frosted, I put a towel over it, over like the windows and stuff, and so that my windows don't get frosted. So maybe you guys can try it. Maybe it'll work for your cars too. Tomorrow will be sunny with a high of 42 and a low of 24. Friday we'll see I'm going to say it, a small chance of snow showers in the morning, mixing in possibly with some rain. It's a 20% chance. Same with Friday night. Friday's going to be a high of 42 and a low of 26. Saturday will bring us mostly sunny skies with a high of 44 and a low of 26. Veterans Day looks to be pretty nice with mostly sunny skies with a high of 43 and a low of 26. Thank you guys for listening in. I hope you have a great day.
Well, I have an old friend, and I don't mean it in terms of how old you are, but we've known each other for a couple of years, and I think the first time I met you was when you were running for the school board here in Spokane, and that would have been, what, like 3 years?
About 4 years ago.
4 years? Wow. And then your comment back to me on Messenger was, Kent, we haven't talked for like 2 years. Yeah. Where does time go?
I know. It runs
faster as we get a little older, doesn't it?
Right.
Okay. You have experienced in the last couple of years, and I experienced until my father passed away about 15, 20 years ago, Alzheimer's in our families. And it's something that we baby boomers, I'm the first year of a baby boomer, being born in 1946, and I always like to say this in case he's watching. Those of you who know Dave Cotton, he's the last year of the baby boomers, and he hates it when I mention it publicly. But the fact is, we're a big group of people, and we're going to start seeing the Alzheimer's numbers tick up in the next decade or so as we get into our 80s and so forth. And with your experience and with mine, with my dad, that's a tough adjustment when it comes along, isn't it? Tell me about your experience and how you kind of found out.
Sure. Well, we were called about 2 years ago to rescue our uncle from Indiana.
Oh, boy.
And when we went there, we didn't know anything about his situation. We just knew he was in the hospital, and we went there to go and see how he was. And when we got there, we were facing a very serious abuse and financial exploitation situation.
Oh, no.
Our uncle owns mobile home parks in Indiana, and he was being exploited through what started out as a romance scam, and that went on for a really long time.
Oh, wow.
And then it turned into an effort to exploit him for his real property assets.
Oh, no.
And so
Unfortunately, that does happen with seniors, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how easy it is for people to do it. So we picked him up, and we, after a while, brought him back to Spokane.
Right.
And he lives here. He's in a lockdown facility in Spokane.
Yes.
And
Good.
my sister and I alternate taking care of him. So we go out there. For the first year, we went out there every single day for the whole year. And then into the second year, we've gone at minimum every other day. But a lot of the time, it's every day.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. What does that do to you and your schedule, your family responsibilities, your community responsibilities? Because Vinny, our tech guy, was asking what title do I put for you, and I think I said community volunteer, community leader,
right,
because you're so involved. But this has got to have an impact on some of that time, doesn't it?
It does, and I think I've tried to really focus what I'm doing by incorporating
Yeah.
this work into what I do. So I tend to focus on marginalized communities, and so when
Okay.
I was facing this, I thought, well, I can take on elder abuse and financial exploitation of
Right.
elders as part of that focus. And so
Sometimes we
I've
don't know
incorporated
what's
it.
going to be on our agenda, do we?
Right,
You
that's
know, we
right.
want to be involved, but sometimes we're handed an opportunity.
You have to stay positive,
Yeah.
and so it's important that we all have a positive attitude. We avoid negativity. We try to
Right.
see people as being generally good people, but you also have to balance that with the realities of things that are going on in the world, and make sure that we're transparent and that we're developing policies and strategies that address those kinds of
Well,
things.
and some of those are not only at the local and state level, but they're at the federal level.
Mm-hmm.
And what are some of those things that we should all be looking at?
Well, I think, it extends into the global arena also.
Yes,
I
yes,
think,
of course.
too, and that's where a lot of the good initiatives are coming, from England and then working their way towards the U.S. and on down. But I think we definitely need some, congressional changes. We're going to have Congress address some of these issues. We're going to have state legislatures addressing some of these issues. And we have to get a conversation and a dialogue and a discourse going with people who aren't afraid to have the conversations. And people can be pretty defensive when you start telling them about, anything that involves abuse or vulnerability.
Right.
They tend to, well, not me, I'm not doing it. But we really have to take a more
But it
offensive
is going on
strategy.
out there.
Just a perfect example would be the problems we're having with cybersecurity and the
Yes.
Elders who are getting constant phone calls or phishing scams on their
Right.
computers, and some of these things are
Their
draining these
long-lost
people.
granddaughter calls and needs to
Right.
get out of jail.
Right.
We've heard them all, haven't we?
Yeah, and they're doing more work. My sister just heard an FBI interview the other day that was on a podcast that talked about how these people are groomed and targeted and all of that. But, we have to get a conversation together. It reminds me a lot. I've been thinking about this. I worked for American Foundation for AIDS Research when I was,
Okay.
in college and in the early 90s. And so we were addressing the AIDS epidemic and the crisis that was coming along with that.
Yes,
A lot of it had to do with healthcare and medical. And this reminds me quite a bit of that same type of a
Kind
problem.
of on the beginning of making things go the way they should.
Right. You
Yeah.
have a need for an allocation stream that has to be put towards a particular problem. And, part of that is making sure that allocation stream is clean.
Yes.
And that you do everything that you can to close off any of the leaks that get the funding to go where it's not supposed to go,
Right,
and instead get it directed exactly where it needs to be.
Yes.
And so that's, I think, one of the really big issues. Obviously, research and a cure is really important, and coming up with treatment
I
solutions.
keep
is
hearing
important.
that the cure, or at least the stalling of it or slowing it down, is right around the corner, but I've heard that for a decade.
Yeah, there hasn't been any substantial advances in
Okay.
40 years. I was just reading that, and I got some other statistics I
Right.
thought were kind of good for you. That there's a person developing a dementia every 3 seconds globally.
Oh, wow.
And that changes when you're in a rich nation like the U.S., and the difference is about 60 seconds.
Ah,
so
wow,
it's not
that is
too
that's
much.
yeah, that's a major difference, isn't it?
Well, it is, but
Yeah.
it's still a lot of people.
It is. It is.
And worldwide, there are 50 million people with a dementia. That's the size of South Korea or Spain.
Oh, wow.
And by 2050, there will be 152 million people.
Oh, boy.
Who that's the size of Russia or Bangladesh. It's surpassed cancer as the most feared disease in
Yes.
America. It kills more people per year than breast cancer and pancreatic cancer combined.
Wow.
The ratio of publications for neurodegenerative disorders versus cancer is 1 to 12. So the information, the education,
why is
everything
that,
just
do you
isn't
think?
out there. It's all related to funding.
Okay.
And so that's why you
And
have
primarily
to have
from the
these,
federal government.
right, federal funding,
Yeah.
which gets passed down to the state, and then
Right.
also big organizations. My mother happens to be, and my uncle happened to be related to Eli Lilly, and the Lilly organization, the foundation, and the pharmaceutical company, they give a lot of money to Alzheimer's research. So a lot of that is going to come from the private sector as well. And so that's kind of interesting. But I think it's important for people to understand there's no cure. It's not reversible.
Right.
And we have to come up with proactive strategies to live healthier lives, because you can delay the onset with your lifestyle. So if you start to exercise more, reduce your sugars.
Why are you looking right at me when you say that?
I'm thinking about myself. It's like I need to tell myself these things, but they expect.
But it's the basics.
Right.
When it comes down to it, isn't it?
It's this problem is expensive. It's $1 trillion a year worldwide right now, and that's going to double by 2030.
I'll bet.
And then for the allocations, they think that the funding should be 1% of the societal cost. So that's kind of how we figure that out at the state and federal levels, I think. And so, that's kind of some data for you. That one thing that appeals to me, because I have a women's studies background, is that the estimated informal care hours are 82 billion hours a year that are put towards this, and 71% of those hours are supplied by women.
Yes.
And so it's something that women should be paying attention to, especially for their own health. And the biggest thing for me is really the longevity inequity that we're seeing, which is that people who are richer are going to live up to 15 to 20 years longer.
Right.
So with women, that's for men. For women, it's about 10 years longer than people who are poor.
Okay.
And so we really need to be spreading the assistance across the base and, helping people, all people, not just the people who can afford to pay $10,000 a month to go into assisted living.
Yeah, and these facilities are not inexpensive.
Right.
And when you talk about women, I think back to one of the things I learned probably 5 or 8 years ago was in terms of assisted living and all of that, it's primarily the woman or the wife that does it, even for the in-law and so forth, that finds the place and takes. So it really is a woman's issue.
Right.
I mean, you're absolutely correct.
And it's long-term care is so important that we all stop to think, how am I going to take care of myself later?
Yes.
Who's going to do that job? Who can I trust?
Right.
Get a power of attorney for your children or for your loved ones. People unfortunately are also exploited by their family members.
Yes,
so
that does happen
it's an
occasionally.
Equal opportunity exploiter. But if you're a well-meaning person, I think the big question is whether the cost of dementia care and legal support are cost prohibitive. So does it force people to make choices that aren't best for the patient?
Right.
And we have to answer that question. We have to do something about the things that are happening that aren't effective, and we're not using our resources effectively, and we can do better.
Right. Well, where should people begin to go to get information? Because I know there's information out there. I mean, obviously you cited
locally, the Alzheimer's Association is the best place to go. And you can go into their office. They have a stand with multiple flyers and documents there that you could start even just looking, or you can go online and look at what they have available online. So that's a good start for looking for resources.
And I imagine they have links to all kinds of things.
And they have people you can talk to and people who can help direct you. Right now, we're working on a Spokane Dementia Action Team. It's a part of a national planning initiative that is at the state level, and now they're bringing it into the counties. And so the county is just starting to gather all the stakeholders together to figure out what Spokane wants to do about this problem. How can we work together and address what's going on?
Well, good. Do me a favor, let's have you come back in a couple of months and update, because there's so much to talk about. As I mentioned earlier, it's a personal thing.
Yeah.
I'm probably headed to have Alzheimer's, given the family history and so forth, and certainly with my dad and his sisters. And I think so many of my friends out there that are dealing with their parents right now and potentially themselves as we baby boomers get up there in age. So thank you.
Yes,
good
thanks for
information.
having me.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Steve from the YMCA of the Inland Northwest right after this.
The economy is getting stronger. Banks are lending again, and interest rates are at historic lows. Now is a great time to buy your dream home. The caring and knowledgeable professionals at Homes for You have been helping people just like you for over 20 years. They take the time to listen to what you want and will help you find just the right home in Washington or Idaho. Real estate is what we do at Homes for You, 928-5782, or visit online at homes4uspokane.com.
Is your child having trouble coping with a personal disability, but don't know where to go? Consider our friends at Breakthrough Incorporated. Breakthrough takes great pride in mentoring their DDA clients who have intellectual disabilities and their BRS clients who have challenging behaviors toward the creation of safe, appropriate, ethically sound life goals. They integrate programs at school and home to enrich their lives. They work hard to make a positive difference in you and your family's lives. Breakthrough provides a highly structured, fully staffed residential setting in local neighborhoods, 6 in Spokane and 2 in the Tri-Cities. Diagnoses affect people differently, so their service to each resident is unique, giving them the opportunity to grow and evolve. For more information on Breakthrough, visit their website at breakthroughincorporated.org.
I really like the shower.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Take your time.
Well, welcome back to the Pulse of Spokane. Steve Tomorrow from the YMCA of the Inland Northwest. He's actually the president and CEO. Big titles we have. What means is you work about 20 hours a day, right?
That's
I mean,
right.
There's no way around it. As a former YMCA guy 42 years ago, I know how it goes. It's a lot of work, but rewarding. And so you guys have been making some changes, several changes. But let's first talk about you just completed and published, if you will, your strategic plan.
Yeah.
What's involved there, Steve? I'm
Well,
going to push this forward to you just a little
And I
bit.
think it's one of the things we try to get out when we talk about the plan is to let the community know is that while the Y does great mission work, we're also a well-run business.
Yes,
And that
yes.
we have a plan moving forward. And this particular plan was worked on by our board of directors and key staff. And really we have 3 organizational strategies. One is around growth. We want to grow membership. We want to grow donors. We want to do it through meaningful collaborations with other organizations. Right. How do we expand the Y's mission? The second one is around relevance. And so we're the community's oldest not-for-profit. We're 135 years old. But that also
I
means,
remember when you started.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, but we have to make sure that we're providing what people need today, or else you become irrelevant.
Right,
and
right.
So
And we've seen organizations that have done that.
Absolutely, you see it in retail all the time.
Exactly.
And I think that we have upgraded our website. We've added apps. We have a new software platform that's better for the end user. But it's all about making the member and donor experience better.
Yes.
And then finally, the third organizational strategy is around excellence. And this is a really exciting one because this focuses solely on staff. In any one time during the year, we have between 700 and 900 employees.
Wow.
So we're a large employer.
Yes.
We put about $11.4 million into the local economy as a workforce. But what we're focused on now is trying to make sure that we're an employer of choice, that whether you're a lifeguard or a program director, that you're going to want to work and stay at the YMCA.
Yes, yes.
And so we look to incentivize Y employment. We're really making it a point to make sure that all our workforce understands the cause of the YMCA. We see this with a lot of young people, that they really love a cause.
Yes.
And if we can inculcate them into the cause of the YMCA, they're a better employee. If they're a better employee, you have a better experience as a member, a donor has a better experience. So that plan really, we just launched it in January. We spent the latter part of 2017 working on it, but it launched in January, and we're making some great inroads.
You know, I was going to ask you that a related question, because I think back to my years in high school and college, and then about 8 years as a professional Y director in the Los Angeles area. And I joined and wanted to be part of it because of the cause and because I could make a difference. And I couldn't make that difference at the gym down the street kind of thing, although obviously physical fitness wasn't my forte, okay? But I mean, that's why I got into it. And I was going to ask you, what are today's employees like at the Y? Are they really mission and driven and goal-oriented?
They are, because the other part of the plan, one of the things that we're doing within it is I'm spending a lot of time as our COO out among groups of the workforce, whether it be our early learning teachers or our managers on duty.
Okay.
And we're sitting with them, and we call them staff chats. And one of the things that we're asking is, when you get up in the morning, what do you love about coming to work? Mm-hmm. And it's always about the people and the mission and the difference they make. And whether it's a 20-year-old or whether it's somebody that's 65, they're telling us the same thing.
Yeah.
And so
how do you instill that into somebody who's sitting and watching kids swim and they're the lifeguard? Because that's a safety responsibility and so forth. But how do you get them to see the important part of the mission of what they do?
Well, I think they first have to understand the importance of their job.
Yes.
If you're a custodian, you have to understand that the most important thing to any Y member is cleanliness.
Yes.
So you play a role. If you're a lifeguard, you have to understand that the most important thing to that parent that dropped their child off is their safety.
Yes.
So once they understand the importance of their job, we begin to talk to them in our new employee orientation and throughout their time in the workforce about the stories we hear, the stories of impact.
Yes.
And stories resonate. And then when you tell stories, people say, yeah, I'm a part of that, and I feel great about doing so.
Yeah, because you don't know as the lifeguard when you've talked to a kid who's learning to swim or needed a little help, what that positive impact is, and you may never really know.
Right.
I was fortunate enough to have some former campers and so forth say that they appreciated what I did and so forth. And it's very few that do that, but that multiplies out there.
That's
They
right.
never say that to the Y employee and so forth. Expansion. I think I just read something about Sandpoint. What's going on?
Well, and so going back to the
Yes.
strategic plan and the strategy of growth, we've worked with the Sandpoint community for, a number of years, even prior to my coming here 6.5, 7 years ago. That's a community that wanted and needed recreation.
Okay.
And they didn't feel that they could do it as a community in terms of a municipally owned rec center.
Okay,
So
right.
they began to turn to the YMCA, and we have talked for years about a YMCA presence there. And we have an advisory board up there. Well, an opportunity came to us where the owners of the Sandpoint West Athletic Club,
Right.
who felt that they had run that and owned it for a number of years.
It was time to
decided that
move.
Maybe time to move and,
Yeah.
and retire from that business. And we had talked to them, and we came to the understanding that, they really wanted to leave a legacy.
Yes.
They did some wonderful work up
Yeah.
there. And they wanted to leave a legacy, and who better to turn it over to and sell a
Nice.
business to as the YMCA. So we have purchased that building and its assets. We expect that we'll open the doors as a YMCA in early December.
Okay.
We're just working out the final closing arrangements
Right.
on the
Sure,
sale.
sure.
But we'll open that up in early December. And
Right.
we feel that we can bring some great services to Sandpoint, but we're going to spend a lot of time listening to the community.
Yes.
Because while we know the Y business, what we need to know is where are their needs.
Exactly, and that's what it comes down to. My wife keeps asking me, and since you're here, I'm going to ask. We live on the South Hill. You know what I'm going to ask,
Yeah.
don't you?
Yes,
Okay.
about the
Yeah.
new Y up there.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. So what's happening and what might happen? Is there a chance that will expand or?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
We opened a very similar acquisition,
Right.
although we rent that building in December of 2016.
Right.
It's always been the plan to put a full facility Y in the South Hill. So here's where some of the challenges come up.
Yes.
One is land.
Yes.
We've looked at a couple of parcels of land up there, but
It's not inexpensive either.
The owners wanted to lease, and an ongoing lease doesn't work with our model. We need to own the property.
Yes, yes.
So we're still looking at land. Once we can identify a piece of land, we'll go out to the community and do a feasibility study.
Right,
because
right.
the other challenge is that to
Can you
build
raise the money?
about $20 million.
Is that what
we
it is
believe,
today?
Of what it is. But we're working on both ends. We're
Good.
always out talking to people, and we're telling the story about the possibility of a full
Yeah.
facility. But the really first
It'll happen at
challenge
some
is,
point.
It will happen
yeah.
at some point. And the first challenge really is can we come up with a parcel of land on the South Hill?
Yes.
It would be about. The need would be about 15 acres. We
Okay.
could do something smaller,
Yeah.
but we do think that's about the ideal for us.
Yeah, but when you get smaller, then it limits your future 40,
does.
50 years from now. And why didn't Steve get
That's
15
correct,
acres
yeah.
or 20 instead of the 11, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. You've got something coming up, a special, membership special.
We do. So
Yes.
a couple of times a year, we like to offer the community an opportunity to join the Y with no
Right.
joining fee. And we're doing that beginning Thanksgiving Day through Monday the 26th. We'll be waiving the joining fee. But I think the important thing for the community to understand is we're a charitable, not-for-profit organization, and we turn nobody away for an inability to pay.
right.
So what we do is we base membership on household income. So we have a sliding scale,
Okay.
and people that are well off will pay at a certain place in the scale.
Right.
People that need help will pay a lower amount. Anybody can go to our website at YMCASpokane.org and get onto the membership calculator, plug in annual income, and see what a rate may be.
Right.
But that special will be Thanksgiving Day through Monday the 26th.
Wow.
No joining fee.
That's great. That is great. Let's hope you're inundated on the web.
We hope so as
Steve,
well.
thank you. Again, remind people where they can get more information.
YMCASpokane.org.
That's pretty darn simple.
777-9622.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks
We're going
so
to take a
much.
quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about social media, especially for young people with Charles.
The following is sponsored by our friends and community supporters at McNeese Wheeler Attorneys. McNeese Wheeler is a boutique law firm in Spokane, handling matters in both Washington and Idaho. Areas of law include business law, wills, trusts and estates, family law, personal injury and wrongful death, and real estate matters. For your full-service legal needs, contact McNeese Wheeler Attorneys.
I'm Nikki Butler, and I'm a regional manager for STCU. My lunch buddy is Nicole.
I'm Brandy Schloss. I'm a regional manager at STCU. My lunch buddy is Angelina. She's grown up with me. I've grown up with her. To see her graduate will be a lot of fun.
Brandy and I have been lunch buddies since the girls were in second grade. It's great that STCU provides me with the opportunity to be part of Reach for the Future. We are committed to the children. We're committed to our community. I'm Nikki.
I'm Brandy.
And STCU is here for good.
Hi, I'm Larry Myers, owner of River Ridge Hardware. Welcome to our garden center here on the corner of Garland and Driscoll. We have fresh plants that come in weekly from all of our local growers. We can make your garden look like our garden. Here at River Ridge, we've been here 30 years. We're your full-service neighborhood hardware store. This is our sprinkler aisle where my knowledgeable staff will help you put together your sprinkler system so it will make your yard lush green for the spring and summer. This is River Ridge Hardware's rental center where we provide a multitude of equipment for rent for the do-it-yourselfer. Next time you're working on your home or yard this spring and summer, stop by, say hi, and we'll help you get the project done.
Well, welcome back. Now we're going to talk about a subject, and I was just talking to Charles about my background and what I know about social media and technical things. And my answer to all of that, when someone says, well, Kent, you guys are doing so much technical, so much on social media. Can you give us some advice? And my advice is find somebody under 30, okay? That's what I do. Business-wise, my business partner, Ryan, although he's 44 now, is still pretty savvy on the social media stuff, and he does all of that. That's actually why I let him into the company to be my business partners, because he would take care of all that. But the fact is, you young folks, and everybody under 60 is young, okay, to me, get it. You deal with it on a constant basis. Yeah. And there really are some tricks and some things to know about. I liked your comment about, yes, you're Spokane based, but you talk with people around the world, around the country, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Charles, tell us about what it is you do to start with, so we can kind of put the platform out there.
Well, I am a community leader and a content creator,
okay,
or a social media personality, and I spend my time creating content because nowadays I feel like young people aren't as interested in the news. They don't like to sit down and watch the evening news or read a newspaper. So a lot of my friends really don't know what's going on in the world. They rely on me to tell them what's going on.
That could be dangerous.
Yeah, they don't really have access to that news. So a couple years ago, well, 4 or 5 years ago, I had created my first page, and it just had a couple followers. And then, maybe 2015, I started creating more content that apply to issues that I care about, and they just took off. So going from those first 100 followers, now in about 4 years, I've built a network of close to 115,000 people that align with some of the issues that I believe in.
So where are they following you? Facebook, I would assume?
Yeah, it's mostly Facebook.
Yeah.
My Instagram was taken down. It had about 10,000 followers. So I did lose
Did you
that.
say something naughty?
No, it was actually hacked, and I haven't told anybody about that yet, but it was hacked, and I'm not sure who did that, but that was lost and gone. They weren't able to get my Facebook, but, it's just a loss that I took and move on now.
Yeah, yeah.
But I have a network of different pages. My main one is just Charles Abeda, my page there. But there's others that follow down in the network, and they pertain to different social issues, and more specifically for different groups.
Right. So what are some of the things that, let me ask it from this standpoint, from a business like ours that sends out a video stream on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and so forth, what are some things that we and other businesses should be doing to talk to, I'll say, younger people, because that's really the audience out there?
Yeah, creating like more engaging content. So what you do,
such as,
well, it's different for every business. So what I use works for me.
Okay.
I talk about my social issues, but what you're doing kind of already works. I recommend everybody to utilize video because that seems to play out better than anything else.
Yeah.
Videos just spread like crazy.
Right.
So
we're a visual society.
Yeah,
absolutely. We really are.
We
really are.
And utilizing, so for other business, so you guys are on a good path here. Definitely to start. But there's other businesses that aren't utilizing social media whatsoever. They don't have Facebook pages, they don't have YouTubes, they don't have anything.
Some once in a while don't even have web pages, which surprises the heck out of me.
It's crazy nowadays because in the competition, everybody
that's where you go.
Everybody's on social media, so if you're not there,
you don't exist.
No, not at all.
I've found some folks and some businesses that don't do a web page, but they do a Facebook page. Yeah. And is that becoming more common sometimes?
I think it is, because Facebook's integrated a lot of its platform into businesses. Like, for instance, my store that I just opened up recently, where we can integrate that store and shop right into Facebook. Versus just sharing a link to the product, going to our website. Now it's all integrated in one. Facebook wants to make that easier for you.
Okay, well, so let's talk practical. What kinds of advice do you have for others out there, that young people especially, on the social media side? I'm going to listen and take notes.
Well, Sorry, can you ask again?
Yeah. What advice do you have for young people to be active in social media, but also to get a following? Because isn't that what we really want? I mean,
Sure.
we could have the greatest Facebook and 3 other people follow it, and
Well, the thing for me is some of the topics that I speak about people don't like. I have a lot of trolls or haters, as you would call them, and that just kind of comes with the territory.
Yeah.
You can't let it get to you. And you have to be genuine. I talk about the things that I want to talk about on Facebook and social media, regardless of how that plays out.
and if people don't like it, they don't have to like it or follow you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you'll see, I've gotten to the point where I don't argue with people
That's
that
probably smart.
comment, and a lot of times my followers or my supporters will do that for me.
Yeah.
And the first thing that they always say is, why are you here? You know,
Yeah.
if you don't agree with what's being said, why are you here? So some advice for people that are looking to get a following is to just be yourself. Don't try to follow a trend or try to do this or that. Just be yourself. And if you are being genuine and people like what you say, they'll follow you.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's one of my number one questions I'm asked is how did you gain a following like this? Well, I'm not sure. I just was myself.
Well, that doesn't help, Charles.
And people like what I have to say, and it's just kind of morphed from there. And so in the last year or two, I've seen about a 300% increase in following.
Really?
And it kind of snowballs. So when you have a small page and you start doing good and your insights are going up, it really snowballs. It just gets bigger and bigger, those insights. So here now I'm at about 100,000, and I foresee being at 250,000 here in the next year.
Wow.
And all of this is organic too. I don't pay.
I was going to say, I was going to ask.
It's it's kind of disappointing because Facebook, when they first, and this was maybe 10 years ago, when they first rolled out all their integrations for business, they promised that it would be really helpful to businesses.
Right.
And they would be able to promote. But over time, I mean, we all understand how Facebook algorithms work. Now, when you make a post, your posts aren't seen by all your friends. It used to be like that a long time ago. But now there's really complex algorithms that, like, I have on my personal Facebook account, I have 5,000 friends, and a small percentage of those people will see a post that I made. And so related to business there, Facebook has just kind of slipped up as far as I'm concerned because promoting alone is normally $1 per like or $1 per share now. When you're talking up in the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands for content, who's going to pay that? Some of my videos have 10 to 20 million views.
Wow.
And if you were to pay Facebook to get that sort of a reach, it would be $10 to $20 million.
Wow.
And it's so you kind of have to figure out shortcuts in other ways.
Okay, so now where can people find you?
Well, you can find lots of different ways, kind of everywhere. You can look my name up, Charles Abeyta, anywhere on social media.
Spell it.
Charles and then Abeyta, Abeyta.
Okay.
My username is it's me, Charlie D. So that's how you find me. So yeah, and you can go to www.abeyta.org as well and look at the store there.
Okay.
I said we just released.
All right, I'm going to ask one very selfish question. What should we be doing? What else should we be doing to get more followers and likes? I love putting people on the spot. Yeah.
How to get more? What can Spokane? Well, let's see. We can tell everybody that's watching right now to go follow your page and to share this video right now.
Okay.
Because it's not about likes and comments, it's about shares.
Is it? Okay.
The more you share, more people
see how much I know?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, everybody who's watching right now, go ahead and share. Make sure you like and follow their page here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Great. And if you've got 150,000 people, we might pick up 1% of that or 2%.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all right. That would be great.
Yeah.
All right. You're probably going to want $1 a piece or something, aren't you?
No, absolutely not. No.
Well, Charles, thank you. That's helpful. It's something that keeps changing, this whole social media thing. You young people, you really begin to understand it. Mm-hmm. Some of us older folks are still learning a lot, but here we go. All right.
Well, and I just want to touch on one last thing here before we go. So no matter what political side you fall on here, I encourage everybody to go out and vote. That's really why I'm doing this.
Yes.
My content reaches a lot of older folks, but I'm looking for the younger demographic. I need you guys to go out and vote. Here in Spokane, yesterday, I think it was a 40% turnout.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great that 40% are going out there, but I need
where's
to see
where's the other
60%,
60%?
80%.
There are people in countries that would love to have this free opportunity to vote, you know?
No matter who.
Exactly,
no matter
exactly.
what candidate you believe in, you got to go out vote. It's your due diligence as an American citizen.
Absolutely. Well said. Thank you very much. Hey, thanks for watching today. We'll have another great program next week, and go check him out, okay, and see what he's up to.
Yeah.
All right? Thanks for watching The Pulse of Spokane. Have a great week, everybody.
The Pulse of Spokane is produced in Spokane, Washington by Spokane Talks Media, which is solely responsible for its content. The Pulse of Spokane is brought to you in part by Breakthrough Incorporated and Homes for You. Ask a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksMedia.com. We wish you a great day.